Welcome to the Clean and Simple Podcast, where leaders are helping leaders do more to be more. Whatever your work may be, we are dedicated to giving you the insights and tools we use in the field. Our people are our greatest assets, and they are here to share their unique thoughts with you.
I was looking for an opportunity to come back to the Des Moines area and be closer to my family, and came across the Indeed application for City, and it's the only one that I even remember filling out. There's a lot of great questions that caught my interest, and then when I started going through the interview process, it just felt like the right fit. I went through a phone interview to begin with, and then had an initial interview, I think, with Chris, and then I had another interview with Chris and Colin, and I could just tell that the people, the culture, the vision of the company was something I definitely wanted to be involved in, and really looked forward to the opportunity. They were telling me, what I was going to have, the freedom of it, and being able to really help grow City to what it is now. So, everything that we talked about from that day has actually transpired and become true. So it's been a pretty awesome experience since I started. But yeah, it was definitely the place that I applied that felt like home, I guess. It just felt like a really good fit. So how was training my first year on the job? And how was my first year on the job? Well, in the beginning of my training, I started out up in O-line and got to experience the plant and everything that happens up there. From there, I came down to the Des Moines territory and met Mark and Shane, who I think at the time were the only two guys here who I was going to be working with, and got to ride on a route with Shane. Went with him for a full day and met him at the depot at like 4 o'clock in the morning, and didn't get back before that day. I don't really remember, but it was great. And it was an awesome experience to be able to just learn a little bit more about the industry and what we do and what I was going to be involved in. So that was awesome. From there, once I got out in the field, Chris was really involved in coming down and kind of taking me around and showing me the ropes a little bit, giving me an idea of what a cold call is and, what a follow-up is and what my appointments should look like. And so he was with me for the first few weeks to kind of help me sift through this new world I was involved in. So that was great. And then, we went and did cold calls. I got to watch him. I did my own, introducing myself to people and then calling people on the phone. After that, the first few weeks, and it was kind of, he'd check in with me every once in a while, and I was on my own for a little bit. Things have definitely progressed, I think, since that beginning, that first week when I started, or that first year, that I started. There's a lot more in-depth training now, which is awesome. But for me, that first year was, I think, an advantage in some ways because I was just kind of out there figuring things out and figuring out what worked for me, figuring out what didn't work, learning my territory inside and out, and knowing, I guess every street in this county like the back of my hand. So I feel like it really did give me a good advantage in that area just because I was so involved in it. And now, from where we were at that point till now, the lists and things and the focus on the certain industries is awesome because it really helps us dial down. Instead of just going everywhere, we now know what specifically we're looking for, and that I think that progression has been awesome, especially as a sales rep, knowing that there's a little bit more structure and a little bit more strategy to what we're doing versus my first year. So what guidance or advice did I receive in my first year and moving forward from there? All kinds. The industry that I came from before was sales, but it was furniture sales, and it was night and day different between, potential customers coming into you versus going out and finding clients and doing the B2B sales. the guidance and some of the advice that I did receive from both Mark and Colin was just don't give up. And I've said it before, I know I have, but Mark always says work like your hair is on fire. You've just got to work really hard. It's a numbers thing. You got to get out there and talk to as many people as you can. And the process, follow the process was huge. Learning and understanding the sales process in this industry is imperative in order to be successful, because you can't skip steps. You can't go around certain things. You've got to follow the process in order to get the end result that you're looking for. And so in a way that it can be a struggle at times because there's a lot of time involved in that. One of the big differences between the last industry I was in and this one is the contracts, obviously. So there's a timeline with it, and people are stuck in a contract for a while. There's nothing you can really do, and it could be 6 months, it could be 6 years before you have the opportunity. But lining up your shot, setting up your shot so that when that opportunity presents itself, you have followed the process strategically so that it is, a foregone conclusion that when they have the opportunity to change, they're going to change to city. So it's just following that process step by step and making sure that you complete everything without skipping things. And then it really just makes it smooth. So I think that's the biggest advice I received and guidance I received is, and just, we would practice it a lot. We would do role plays. We would go over things, putting me in very uncomfortable positions as far as having to role play stuff, to help me step outside myself and step outside the box and view things from a different point of view so that I could be ready for whatever is thrown at me. That was all huge. And I'm so grateful for all of that experience in the beginning because it has definitely helped me with where I am today. When I realized what I'm doing is actually working, I think that I always am looking to improve. There's always things I feel like I could be doing better, and it doesn't matter how much better I do get. I'm always feeling like there's things I could be doing better. So my confidence is there. I'm pretty confident in myself as a person and being able to connect with people. And I think that's where it all begins. That's the part that comes really easy for me. So my confidence on that level is pretty high. Going in and meeting a stranger and turning them into not a stranger, somebody who is comfortable with me, trusts me, likes me. That's the part of this that I really enjoy. So I think that's where my confidence is high. My most memorable sale to date is definitely Kemen. And it was an important one. When I came to Des Moines, that was one of the first companies that Mark talked about, Colin talked about, everybody talked about. It was kind of a whale, so to speak, that everybody was looking to get. It was one of the first places Colin cold called when he came to the Des Moines territory. It was one of the first places Mark went into. So it was always on the radar. And then, getting the opportunity to go in and have the first appointment there. I remember that was a big deal because we hadn't gotten in the door yet. And then when we finally did get in the door and figured out the information that we needed as far as timeline and contract end dates and who the official decision makers were, it was a great feeling to know that I was part of all of that and that I was able to help get that started. That still, to this day, is one of the craziest ones I've been through, too, because there were a lot of people involved. So I remember taking Mark in with me to go have a meeting, and I think there were 12 people in the room with us that were all decision makers somewhat. They were over all the different buildings around campus. So it was a big deal. And that was one of the first ones for me that was, this is big. And it was really exciting. And then when we landed that and we did sign it and brought them on board, which I heard, I think last week, I think my brother re-signed them for another term, which is awesome. So, not only did we get them on board, but we were able to help them. We were able to do what we said we were going to do. We've taken great care of them. And now, we have them for another term length, and keeping them as part of the city family. So it's just awesome to know that I was part of that process and that we had a goal and a vision for something and that we made it happen. Everything that I was selling in my first couple of years was securing a position for my brother Barney. I recruited him in about a year after I started, and he came on board on the service side of it. So knowing that everything I was doing was directly affecting him, and again, securing a position for him was awesome. So city has changed astronomically, I think, since I started, and all in positive ways, and it started out great when I first started, and to know that we've just grown and developed and become even more positive since that point is pretty awesome to see. From the marketing department, you guys, going from one single person to a team of people and just seeing the difference in what Emily was doing then versus what Emily is doing with her team now is amazing. I mean, and I was talking about it today, how much you guys impact what I do on a daily basis. And it's been so huge, just knowing that I have the support system behind me and the team to help me, if I didn't have, the support from you guys and what you guys are able to do for me, it would just be a totally different playing field if I had to do all that on my own. Or even a fraction of it, because everything you guys do wouldn't happen on my own. So a fraction of that. So that has been awesome. I mean, seeing the development of our executive team too, and just knowing everybody's on board with this vision that, Colin's had for a long time, and seeing that transpiring come to life over the last 4 years has been awesome. Even just the last 2 years, the things that have changed and developed. I think training was a big part of it. Like I said, I was happy with what I had my first year, and I do think that it was a positive thing for me to experience. However, I think now we can just get where we want faster and more efficiently with the training and all the materials and things that we have available to us as a salesperson in the field. It makes our jobs a lot easier. So, and then just seeing where we're going, not only how far we've come in the last 4 years that I've been with the company, but where we're headed, and knowing that, if it happens at the same pace that it happened over the last 4 years, it'll be amazing to see where we are in 4 years. And I have a feeling the pace is only going to pick up from here, and we're just going to get to where we want to be even faster. So it's exciting. One of the things I've definitely really enjoyed is having the opportunity to go to Omaha and, be in a completely new territory, and having a strategy and a focus on what it is we're looking for and going over there and finding it and then building those relationships with people is exciting. And I would love to have the opportunity to do that again in the future. It's an incredibly exciting time at City, and I am so happy to be a part of it.
Thanks for listening to the Clean and Simple podcast. To find more episodes and learn about how we work, visit our website at www.citycleanandsimple.com/podcast. See you next episode.